Welcome to a new episode of Peculiar Endeavors podcast. I am Amelie and I am your host. In this episode, I thought I'll talk you through how I started changing my diet, what food I eliminated, and how I went about it. I thought I'll just give you some ideas, and by no means my diet is not perfect. But I also think these are the kind of things that we learn down the line as well, and getting used to certain flavors, I guess, and getting used to not eating certain things. And I think it's also important to point out that maybe it really depends what you yourself find easier and how you're feeling. So I just want to talk about things that I did and what worked for me, just to give you an example, or maybe something to think about, or maybe even have questions how I went about it. And I don't know, some things were harder than others. But all in all, I feel like I have come to the conclusion that I feel much better now, and I physically feel much better now. So let me start you off with that. As you all know, I have been vegetarian and vegan from time to time for many, 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 many years. And I thought I was living a healthy lifestyle. I was always very not interested in food. I was never interested in food, to be honest. But I was always very concerned of what I was eating. And funny enough, being vegetarian to start with, I thought that I was being really healthy, because this is what you always hear in the media everywhere, that eating meat is not good and fat is no good for you. We all know at this point what I'm talking about. And along the way, I did have quite a few issues, but because I was thinking that I was eating healthy, I never actually thought it could have been my diet. Yeah, maybe certain things, sometimes you just don't feel well if you eat certain things. If you eat like too much sugar, for example, and maybe eat too much in the evening and things like that. But for so many years, I actually didn't think that it could have been my diet, because I was eating healthy, and just like everyone else, I was making sure that all my vegetables I bought were organic, and I tried to, always eat a lot of fruit, and I never was really into like substitutes for meat, like corn or soya. I had it from time to time. I think sometimes you kind of missed having maybe like a burger, and or specifically like mince, or things that look like chicken. And I think the corn and like soya sometimes was the closest. And obviously, if you go out and eat, that's what you got. And I didn't really eat a bunch of that, but sometimes, yeah, it was very handy to have something like that in the freezer. And specifically, if you're working long hours, or if you don't have time to make food, it is just very convenient. And because it's vegetarian or vegan, even, it just became very convenient. But I try not to buy those things, as in my mind, I wasn't really sure. And as we know, I'm not a big fan of soya, but I know that I consumed quite a lot of soya in the beginning, because that was the whole thing. In the beginning, uh, it, it wasn't, we didn't have so many different so-called milks. It was milk or soya milk if you did not have milk. And all these almond milks and oat milks and rice milks and cashew milk. I don't really know how many milk things they are at the moment, but there's so many to choose from now. But back in the day, it was like soy milk. And when I was working, I normally got my coffee, which was a soy latte many times. And these were the kind of things that I just didn't even think about. And in the morning, I like cornflakes. So I had cornflakes with soy milk, which is just right now, just thinking about it, that probably that time just trashed my stomach so badly. It's just like, no, it's such a big no. But yeah, I did that because living in London as well, you're basically working all the time and you come home late. So it's just very convenient, right? And as they always say, oh, cornflakes, isn't that very handy and very good for you because it has, I don't know, calcium and iron and whatever, it's just a bunch of blah, really. But back in the day, there was not a lot of things to choose from. So, yeah, that was in my diet for sure. And after I was sick, basically, I started to feel not very great, and I was very anemic without even knowing it. And anemia kind of makes you really tired and very slow, and it's very strange to explain how anemia feels. I'm very sure that it feels very similar to for people that had it, but I think if you never had it, it's very difficult to explain it because it's almost like you're in a dream, but it's reality. It's very strange. It's like not even a dream. It's like a nightmare, really. But it's like, it makes you very slow, but you don't really realize that you're slow and you're tired all the time. But you kind of think that, I'm tired because I'm working or I haven't slept well. And if you never heard of it and if you haven't been diagnosed or you don't know, then you just don't think about it. It's very strange. And this is when you're like, oh, I'm tired in the morning, I should drink a coffee. So you kind of have like this false effect of, oh, I'm feeling better now because you feel more awake. But because you're in that state for so long, you don't really realize how slow and how tired you are. You're just always tired and you just push yourself through, and your body gets just very weary of this. And now I know that even so, when I was diagnosed with having anemia, the doctor said, do not even walk up the stairs. If you have to walk up the stairs, rest on each floor and don't do anything physical. It was like I was just so shocked when they said you do have anemia and you should not be moving, and at this point you should be fainting all the time. So after that, I kind of I was thinking about obviously what I ate, but also they wanted me to have blood transfusion, which I refused to have. So they gave me really strong iron tablets. And this is also something right now that I'm like, that basically just ruined my stomach. And I've been taking them for a very long time, and I had to take 3. Normally you take 1, but I had to take 3 every single day. And I used to take, I used to have to go for blood tests as well every single week. I think I did it for at least 3 or 4 months. It was very intense, but they just wanted to make sure that things were getting better. And they were getting better slowly because I was taking those tablets. My stomach was not feeling well. I wasn't really sure what to do, but I remember during the time I kind of like stopped drinking so much coffee and tea because coffee and tea does kind of hinder the absorption of iron. So I thought if I stop drinking, black tea and coffee, then it should be quicker absorbed to my body. And also, normally when you take any kind of iron supplements, you should not be drinking tea or coffee an hour before and after. But at that time, I don't remember that I changed my diet a lot. I actually really just didn't really think that much about it, except the coffee and the tea. And I was kind of like, wondering why I got so ill. And with the cyst that I had, I was kind of like thinking, I don't know, when you just like trying to feel your body and how it feels and like why did things go wrong, and somehow I connected it. I was reading online as well, but I connected it to the soy products. So during that time I stopped eating soy products. Thank God for that. And I did ask the doctors a few times why did this happen, and could this have something to do with soy? And they said we don't know, probably not, no, there's no connection, it can just happen. And for so many years I'm thinking, like, how can something just happen? So I kind of stopped eating soy products at that time because of the estrogen, and also is GMO. So most soy products are genetically modified, and I wasn't a fan of that, so I stopped eating that. But I was still vegetarian, and I was cooking more, but I was still having like vegetables and fruit and a lot of rice, because I really like rice and potatoes. Potatoes are great. But after my surgery, I felt better and all of that, but I did stop take these iron tablets because they did not make me feel better. And I thought, after surgery, I should feel better. So I stopped taking them, but I kept getting, my anemia was kind of coming back. And it's a very sneaky thing as well, because you start feeling it, but you don't really associate these issues with anemia somehow. It's very strange because it's kind of creeps up on you because you get tired basically and very slow. So I had to take the iron tablets from time to time. But I thought, I want to be a little bit more natural. So I started eating like a lot of spinach, and how everyone says, oh, you have to eat spinach and broccoli and all of these things. And that was just so bad for my stomach. It was just so bad. So bad. So I think many, many years passed, and I started eliminating certain things, and I really thought eliminating there was a period when I eliminated like a lot of hot foods. So it wasn't really a raw diet or anything, but if I was cooking anything. I was steaming everything, all vegetables and all of that. I was just steaming it, and then I was drinking juices. So I literally just had mostly raw vegetables and fruits. And for a while, I felt really good. I'm not gonna lie, I felt really good, but the reason why I felt good probably was because I was having so many fruits all the time. So I was probably high on sugar all the time. And as we all know, sugar gives you the energy. So it was kind of like false energy. And it kind of masks the fact that, you're not really eating properly. And I was also dancing, and I lost a little bit of weight during that time. But I mean, I was working, dancing, and eating just vegetables. I wasn't eating like any fat at all. I can't remember if I was eating. Literally, there was no fat in my diet, and which is really not good, specifically if you're a woman. And I think after a while, I started eating more things like soups and things like that. Still vegetables, and I think also because of the crazy time that you're at work, I was buying a lot of my lunches out as well, and I was just having a lot of carbs like bread, and yeah, it was just just quite bad. There was just a lot of carbs in my food. And also, when you go out, you could have like, I don't know, I never been like a big beer drinker, but we, when you have like, so when I started working in the office, we used to have like Friday night drinks. So you used to always like socialize few hours after work, and there was always like beer or drinks there. So you were just like social. Basically, you were social and you socialize. And if you want to socialize, you have to drink alcohol. So I was just doing that, socializing and having some beers. And I think beer was definitely not something I should have been drinking, considering it has gluten as well. So it has alcohol and gluten, and obviously like the estrogen that comes with it. So, but it's like it's socially acceptable, and that's what you do. I'm not saying that I've been like getting drunk every day or anything. It's not the case. But it was like that's what you do. You socialize and you drink. And I think that kind of like made me feel even worse. So once the lockdown happened, and it was maybe like a year or so into the lockdown, I really looked into my diet because I really did not like the way I was feeling. I don't know, just feel like I just felt really. I didn't feel fat. I just felt bloated and like gross. It just felt gross. Like yeah, gross. That's a good description. And I wasn't really sure like what it could be, because obviously in my mind I had a really good diet. So I was looking into just foods and ways to make my body feel better. And this is when I came across fasting. And I know for some people, fasting is something that is very difficult to do because we're so used to eating, breakfast and snacking and all of that. But as I never been like a breakfast person, I thought I should try it. And it just, I think what appealed to me with fasting in the first place was the fact that you let your stomach be empty, or you just don't put anything in your body, so you give it a rest. And that just logically felt natural and logical to me. So I started trying fasting, and it worked really well for me. I tried a few different times, but I think like a 16-hour fast, Monday to Friday, was perfect for me. And I do find that it did really help me with, obviously it's going to help you with weight, but it did eliminate a lot of like the bloating, and it just made my stomach feel less achy when I was eating. But when you're like not feeling well and then you get a little bit better, you think you feel way better because you've been feeling really unwell for so long, and a little bit better just feels, it's such a relief to feel better. So during that time, I actually thought like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is why I have not been feeling well. So I might as well just stick to fasting and continue being a vegetarian, and, keep making my rice and vegetables and all of that. And some time have passed, and there's been a lot of looking into foods, talking to people, watching videos, and something kind of clicked, as in, it's like, well, I realized that iron tablets were really not something that you should have when you are anemic, because putting like proper like iron in your body is actually not that good because it's artificial, and the only way you can get iron in your body is that your body actually absorbs, and that is good for you, is by having meat like liver and kidney and things like that. And for someone that's been a vegetarian for like 27 or something years, that is a very threatening thought, to think like, oh dear, yeah, I have to eat liver. And I thought I just go a little bit easy on myself. And I decided to get like an ethically sourced like meat, steak, and grass-fed, pasture-raised steak, basically. And yeah, first time I had it, it was very chewy. Basically, that's what I thought. It's very chewy, but I thought I have to stick with this for a while just to see, how I feel. And yeah, I definitely felt better, but I didn't really eliminate anything from my diet. I was still having, random vegetables. I had some avocado here and there, but I just added the meat to it, which did make me feel better. I could feel it when I was doing my yoga. I could feel my muscles were stronger. And yeah, like I said, because I wasn't feeling very well before, it was like a big, big thing. I felt so much better. And yeah, I eliminated certain things that I did not like. I think it became natural. There's a lot of foods that I do not like. I was never someone that bought like onions, and I can't eat garlic. I'm actually allergic to garlic. A lot of people laugh, but yeah, it's very true. And there's a lot of like, I don't like spicy food, so I'm not big on spices and things like that. So I never really had that. But I used to buy like carrots, broccoli, tomatoes, like the usual vegetables. And I used to eat a lot of rice. And obviously, I always had a sweet tooth. and I liked my biscuits. I did my, cake every now and again. And, but with fasting, I just felt better because my stomach was just resting for the 16 hours. Sometimes I did like a 20-hour fast if I felt like it. And yeah, I did feel better. But I think after a while, I could really sense, like, even though I was fasting, I was eating my meat. It was very random. Sometimes I felt well, and sometimes I felt just really, really sick, and really, my stomach was aching so bad, like really, really bad. And I was making stews with what are they called now? Yeah, there was a lot of grains, and I just eliminated that, and I felt better. But I didn't eliminate grains in general. It was just in certain foods. Barley was barley. That's one, barley. And then when I eliminated barley, I was feeling better. And then I thought, oh my gosh, there's barley in beer. So I kind of tried not to have beer because there's barley in beer as well. And I always thought that drinking beer was because it was fizzy. So my stomach was like really like a balloon, literally. I could have like 2 pints and I just felt so full and it just felt so stretched out. But it wasn't because it was fizzy. It was because there's barley in it, and I definitely had like an inflammatory response to barley. So I kind of like eliminated that completely. I still had like oats and other things, but yeah, that felt a little bit better. But I have to say, I had to move out of London. I moved out of London a little bit over a year ago. And number one, it was just getting a little bit too crazy. Number two, they sold the flat that I was living in, and I loved it so much. And also, it was getting stupid expensive. It's really stupid expensive. So I moved. I moved away from London, and I think because things were a little bit calmer, I kind of started to feel my body and how it felt a little bit more. So, what I started doing was in the beginning, I used to always feel a little bit funny in the evening, but then I thought, oh my gosh, I'm having a biscuit with my tea in the evening, and I'm basically microdosing gluten. My brain was like, oh my gosh, so if you can't eat barley, this means that maybe you should just eliminate gluten. And in my brain was like, how do you eliminate gluten? You can't eat anything at all. And that really kind of scared me. There's a lot of gluten-free things, but see, the issue is they're not really gluten-free. And in the beginning, I kind of went by the normal thing of like, this is gluten-free. Oh, and you can eat this. This is gluten-free, but it's a cake made with some other things. And it's really annoying because it's not really like that. You should not be eating grains, and you should not be eating like oats at all, for example. And there are just so many things that contain gluten that are classed as gluten-free, but they're really not good for your stomach. And also, many times it's not even gluten. It is the pesticides they put in the food. So all of that together just creates this inflammatory environment in your stomach. So if you already have a stomach that is not, like IBS or something, then it's going to be really sensitive to anything. So it's just very important to literally eliminate it all. And I think eliminating anything that is processed, obviously, but then also like artificial. And looking back at like what we used to eat back in the day, like strip it back, just go back. And it's like, okay, I'm European, so we come from lands that have summer and winter. And during winter, what can you grow during winter? You can't really grow anything during winter, right? So what did people eat? Oh yeah, they ate animals because you go hunting, And then you had domestic animals, maybe. You had like chickens, you had the eggs. But that's basically what you could eat. Yeah, you had, people made flour so they could eat bread. But bread is basically food, like it's peasant food, really. So you eat it because you're hungry. You don't eat it because it's actually good for you. So, eliminating bread is probably a very good idea. So, what I'm kind of trying to say, I guess, like if you think about like what your ancestors ate, then like start with that. And I think after this whole gluten thing, and I've done this few times before, I was like, actually, like sugar is probably even worse. So I stopped having sugar. I have a little bit of sugar, but now I just can't stand the taste of it. It's so bitter and disgusting. I can have a little bit here and there, depending on what it is. But yeah, for sure. Cutting down on sugar is really good. So, well, at the moment, what I eat is like, my diet is really simple. If you if you're lactose intolerant, it might be actually gluten intolerance. Because this is what I thought. I thought I was lactose intolerant, but I'm actually having dairy now. But I only have dairy from grass-fed cows, which does help a lot. It is definitely not lactose, but I also try not to have too much, just to be on the safe side. But yeah, I think at the moment what I'm having, my food is basically meat. I don't mind. I like potatoes. If someone gives me any kind of vegetables, if I'm like eating out and stuff, I can eat it, but I just don't buy it. The reason why I do not have vegetables is because vegetables are actually artificial. We have made vegetables. So like if you go out in the forest, you don't have like tomatoes and broccoli and things growing there. So I don't like there's nothing in vegetables. I guess like I think fruit is probably nice. Like fruits are nice, but fruits also have a lot of sugar. So you can't eat too much. And this is kind of like where I think a lot of people might struggle, because you really have to unlearn what you've learned and strip things down. And it gets very difficult because if you eliminate, sugar, you also with the sugar, when you eliminate gluten, you eliminate a lot of carbs, which is also sugar. Alcohol is also sugar. And I mean, it's just highly addictive. And it gets very difficult when you start eliminating things. And this is why, like, if you want to do it, then you have to do it step by step. You really have to be very strict with yourself, and you have to do it step by step, because you don't want to get to a point of you just like go cold turkey and then you're just craving it. I think if you fancy something from time to time that is a little bit sweet, then like have it, but don't have it too often. But yeah, I would just highly suggest to eliminate sugar from your diet. If you have any kind of like issues with your stomach, then I think sugar is number one. Refined sugar and many just quite a lot of carbs as well. Don't eat too many carbs, I'd say. And I'm thinking something else. Yeah, coffee. Coffee stresses your body as well. So I used to drink a lot of coffee. I've been drinking. So the last thing that I kind of like try to eliminate is coffee and tea. I do still have tea. I do have like caffeine-free coffee, but it's probably not the best, because don't forget that coffee is also a bean. So it's kind of like a bean seed. So it's not like, it's really like not very healthy to have. But it's difficult when you have habits, and you just have to do it step by step. So this is what I'm saying. My diet is not like super perfect, but I feel personally that, I've eliminated so many things, and it gets to the point of like, sometimes I'm sitting and thinking like, oh my God, I'll never be able to enjoy anything. But I do. I think maybe I'm lucky. Like, I like dark chocolate, but I never like eating too much. So if I feel like I want to have a bit of chocolate, I have that. I normally have apples. I always try to buy fruits that are grown in the country you're in. So if you're in a hot country, you're very lucky. You can, get fruits, from that are like locally grown. That is great. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. I think maybe it's not like an easy journey, but it's not as difficult, I think, as people think. And I'd say that it's because you feel so much better. And the fact that you feel better, you really like appreciate how your body feels, and not being in pain when you're eating certain foods is so much greater than indulging in food that is just for the taste buds, And I know I get this all the time, people always tell me, my mom does this a lot. She always tells me to eat more vegetables and, cook with this and, broccoli and carrots and all of that. And I'll be very honest, like, I just never buy. I don't buy broccoli. I don't buy carrots. The only kind of vegetable that I ever buy is potatoes because I freaking love potatoes. And I like British new potatoes. They're my favorite. Um, and they have it's a carb. It has a sweetness to it, and it's perfect when you're having meat. And you can do like so many things with them. You can like mash them. You can fry them. Yeah. So that's like my big thing. Also, like the only like flavors I have is like salt and pepper, and I almost never use salt. Um, I the meat like I like mince because it's so easy to eat, and I really don't find that it needs any additive to its flavor. Maybe a little bit of pepper, but it just tastes so good. So I just really don't see the point of putting anything else in it. So yeah, I my food is pretty bland for most people, but I don't find it bland at all because my taste buds are now used to not having this overwhelming like flavors in my mouth basically. Like if you eliminate sugar, there's a lot of like flavors that you eliminate when it comes to like biscuits and cakes and things. And it's when you don't have these type of foods, can we call them foods? I don't think it's really food. But for example, sugar, when you start eating sugar, it's almost like you need to eat more and more and more to get that like fix or to get that flavor. And that's the thing. Like when you don't have it, you can really taste flavors in food. So you don't really have to season it at all, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, like tomato sauce and things like that for sure. I try to stay away from seed oils. I always use tallow and I use ghee, which is clarified butter. What else? Eggs? Don't forget eggs. You can eat a lot of eggs. I don't know why people are so afraid of eggs. You can eat, like, if you get good eggs, you can eat eggs raw. I think raw egg yolk is quite nice. It tastes good too. Yeah, yogurts. I like to have yogurt. Grass-fed cows. I have brands or I have yogurts that I have which are grass-fed, and I haven't had any issues with that. I've been trialing actually for the past few weeks. I've been trying to have cream in my tea, and I love cream in tea. And before I was a little bit scared because it made my stomach feel funny, but I found a brand and I'm fine. I can have like cream in my tea. I feel a little bit scared sometimes, like, ooh, don't go overboard. But I've been feeling great. And I definitely think that is due to I do not have the kind of inflammation in my stomach anymore, so I'm not reacting to things. I do feel like if I go out and eat where you have a lot of foods that are fried, maybe in seed oils, most likely, then I can feel it. I can definitely feel a difference. So I try not to do that too often. I'm not going to like stop myself from not having food when I'm out, but I definitely stopped having too much food out. And I also have stopped drinking most alcohols. I think, when you're not in London, you really don't need alcohol, to be honest. You can if you want to. I'm not like, I don't mind having a glass of wine here and there, but I just stopped drinking alcohol altogether. And I feel so much better. I really do. And yeah, these are the kind of things I think you can eliminate from your diet, and they will not do like these things don't have any positive impact on your body at all, except for the fact that they taste good. So it's really up to to you, what it is that you want. You know, do you want to indulge your um, taste buds, or would you like your body to feel better? And I think this is definitely something that everyone has to kind of do by themselves. And you can, if you're really hardcore, then you can also eat raw. You know, eating raw meat and like raw liver and things like that. Yeah, you can, but you really have to make sure that it's like really good quality, only pasture raised. Um, or even if you have like a good farm nearby, you know, raw eggs and things, that is not it's not really like an issue, but just, you know, make sure. I would not suggest like going to like Sainsbury's or Tesco and get like some mince and just eat it. Yeah, I mean, do not buy meat. I mean, I wouldn't, yeah, no, don't go to Tesco's and buy meat, to be honest. I think that's probably not a good idea. There's a lot of like colorants and things and additives and God knows. But yeah, I think it depends how far you want to go, basically. And I think just just by elimination of sugar alone, to be honest. Sugar, which means, I mean, I'm talking about like carbs, a lot of carbs as well. I mean, having like a certain amount of carbs, you know, fair enough. I think we kind of need it. We like the taste. I mean, rice tastes really nice, but you know, I would pressure cook the rice, for example. But like legumes, like no, we don't need them. Like our body cannot absorb all of this stuff. It's not really for us. So, you know, it's different. Like if there's nothing else, you know, it's edible. It's not like you're going to like die because you eat some beans. That's not what I'm saying. But in the long term, if you eat this every single day, it's going to accumulate, you know. There's so much pesticide and everything. There's so much, you know, they genetically modify things, you know, pesticides and different medication they give animals that are not raised properly, you know, and they don't live good lives either, you know, just like that is just mind blowing to me as well. It's, yeah, it's pretty terrible. And, you know, let's say, you have, like, let's say wheat, for example, you're making bread, you have, you know, you grow the wheat, there's pesticide, and then you have to process the wheat into, or into flour, and then you make the bread and you put the flour together with water and some salt and some yeast and you bake it, and it's like so processed. And yeah, I haven't had bread for a long time. I was missing it. In the beginning, yeah, sourdough bread tastes very good. I'm not gonna lie, but I just feel so much better by not having it at all, and that kind of like keeps me not eating that, or not eating it, or you know, there are days when I'm like, you know what, this one day I'm just going to like eat things that I should not be eating and just like have a feast and then, maybe feel sick for a week after or something, but I'll just do that. But that's just so silly. It's just for a taste. And yeah, I don't really, I think there's a lot of substitutes, I guess, you can also have. I really miss like pancakes, for example, but I think you can make pancakes with other things that are gluten free, like eggs and I don't know, eggs and something. I need to look into it. But there's like a lot of things that you can make yourself if you have time and look things up. And also, oh yeah, condiments. I probably pronounced that wrong. But if you're looking at, mayo and ketchup and mustard and like barbecue sauces and things like this, yeah, there's a lot of seed oils and a lot of sugar in them as well. So if you have any of those, like choose your poison. I always say choose your poison. When it comes to that, like I think my poison is like barbecue sauce. If I put anything, it's like a little bit of barbecue sauce on a sausage is really nice. But that is it, really. That is like the flavor that I have. I don't really put anything else. And yeah, I don't miss it that much. And yeah, I don't know. Would you be I mean, have you tried eliminating things, or, does it sound scary? Does it sound crazy, weird, too much, too little? I mean, I can't call myself a carnivore. I don't think that I am a carnivore in a sense of like, in my opinion, if you're carnivore, you basically just eat meat, but you also should include like a lot of raw things, in my opinion. What I think is that this is another word that means a lot of different things to people. Sometimes I see a lot of people, they just fry like the meat, like it's just black. It's like, they really fry it. And to me, like, you basically like kill all the good stuff in the meat. So I don't know. In my opinion, like if you're carnivore, uh, you have to eat mainly meat. Which I do in a sense, like, yeah, I would say maybe I am carnivore, but at the same time, I think I still have my potatoes and I still have like dairy. I mean, dairy in itself has lactose and that's also sugar, but it's a different type of sugar. And I guess I'm not sure. Is it carby as well? Very little though. So yeah. I don't know. I try to like just eat the food that will not make me feel sick. And sometimes I do want to entertain my taste buds. And sometimes I suffer a little bit because of that, but I'm aware of it and I'm okay with it. And yeah, I still keep up. And if there's anything else that I read or look at or find interesting, I just kind of like change. I think we can always get better, and I don't think that things are not really like super set in stone. You have to try things and you have to think logically. But I feel like now when I'm here, I just can't go back. Just thinking about like what I used to eat like 10 years ago, it makes me so angry with my past self. Like it makes me so angry with my past self. And yeah, this is why I wanted to talk about it because, I'm kind of hoping that these rambles of mine and these stories maybe will help others. And specifically if you're younger and you're a woman, it's so important to, have a good diet and eat your fats, not oils, but like fats. It's really important. If you want to have children in the future, I know it sounds very silly, and when you're younger as well, you just don't tend to think about things like this because when you're younger, your body is so strong, and you can eat anything when you're younger, but after a while, it it gets harder, and it's not just about like um, gaining weight or anything like this. It's literally about the health of your body and to feel better. And yeah, it feels nice that people are more aware of things like this. And I wanted to chime in and maybe save us all. Maybe not by food, but you know what I mean. I don't think I've forgotten anything. And yeah, I shall leave you with this. And do tell me what is your favorite meal that you feel like this is like a meal that I do not want to be without. I don't want to be without this meal. So even if I would eliminate a lot of food from my diet, this is a meal that I would still have like every month because I love it or something. Like this is a meal that would be my cheat meal or a meal that I just cannot be without. Let me know. All right, I'll leave you with that. Have a lovely evening or day, and I'll speak to you soon.